This real estate agent consistently closes over $50,000 in commission for free every month from her free Facebook group. And in this video, she reveals everything, exactly what to post, how to grow it, and everything that you need to do in order to convert members into clients at scale. But there are a couple critical mistakes that you need to avoid when growing the group and managing the group to make sure that your Facebook group doesn't get shut down and to make sure that it doesn't become littered with other realtors in your market trying to take your clients. And in this video, Naleka reveals how to avoid all of those mistakes and exactly what to do to launch and scale your own local Facebook group to the point where you're closing multiple five figures for free every single month with clients coming directly to you while having fun. And the craziest part about this is you can do it without any experience, even if you've never closed a deal in your life. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Naleka to show you the roadmap of how to leverage Facebook groups to dominate your local market. Now, two quick things before bringing on Naleka. Number one, I will link her content below so that you can check out some of the examples of posts that she refers to in this interview. And number two, if you would like to get Naleka's help to launch your own Facebook group and manage it properly that converts incredibly high, click the link in the description, book a private Zoom call with her, and she can chat about how she could help you for free scale your business. So let's bring on Naleka and talk all things Facebook groups and how to become a dominant agent in your market while having fun and attracting your ideal clients. All right, Naleka, so super excited to have you back on here for round two. Obviously, in the previous conversation, we dove into, how you're doing 70 plus deals a year using the remote realtor blueprint, and I'll link that video below for anybody that hasn't seen it. But today we're going to be diving into your insane Facebook group strategy. And I know this is one that a lot of people are excited about. So before diving into how you've been able to build such a profitable group, just give people a quick rundown of who you are, where you're from, and what got you to this incredibly successful point.
Sure, yeah, I appreciate you having me on again, and I kind of keep it short and sweet from here. So, I actually started about 9 years ago on the back end as a transaction coordinator for a very high producing team. From there, kind of saw what agents were making, and I just honestly could not believe it. So, I had to start getting in on that side of it, got a license, dived right in, and just kind of came out the gate swinging with it. I was number one on my team pretty much year after year. So my husband and I ended up opening our own team from there, had just about 50 agents, opened our own brokerage. Very quickly saw that is not what I wanted to do, not all the hats that I wanted to wear, not kind of the path and the freedom that we'd really built in our business. So we joined with EXP, and ever since then, it's kind of been taking off and going from here.
I love that. Well, it's incredible to see the journey, and I think that gives credibility to the fact that you've, kind of done it all from, the back end work to solo agent to team to brokerage, and so I think that relates to a lot of people. But let's start diving into Facebook groups because I know that the majority of people are always talking about YouTube or Instagram, TikTok, Facebook ads, but very few people kind of dive in and go all in on Facebook groups. And I think there's a lot of ambiguity around what to do, what to post, how to get started, and how to actually convert is the biggest thing that most people struggle with. So let's just kind of give a quick rundown of what are you doing on Facebook groups, and maybe a little bit of high level insight as to what that is giving you in return on a monthly or annual basis.
Yeah, sure. So I too honestly wasn't even aware how lucrative and how good a Facebook group could be to your business. And I moved to a new city a couple years ago, and there were a couple of badass agents out here doing business, a couple community and subdivision groups, but really nothing that I saw kind of doing it consistent. So I just decided I'm out here, we'll create this group, we'll kind of see how it goes from here. I really had my VA running a lot of it for the majority of of getting it going, essentially, creating it, putting the info in there, doing a lot of posts, which I can get a lot more specific on, but just community events, things in the area, restaurants coming soon, things to do, right? Just very general, basic info that people would want to know about areas they want to live in. And then I was having him do property posts. So we were in there about 1 to 2 times a week initially. I didn't want to oversaturate it. And then just posting properties that were for sale in the area. Just a quick little blurb about it, very simple, a couple photos. And after about 3 months of doing it consistently, him in there every single day, and then again twice a week with those property posts, I realized that we had something here, and I started to see some consistent business coming out of it. We were getting a lot of duals. There's not really a lot of rentals in my area. So a lot of these people were needing to sell and buy. I do pretty much all of my appointments virtually anyways, but they were all right in my area as well. So they were just some good, solid leads. And with that, I kind of started getting, a little more strategic and kind of digging in with what we were doing and why we were getting this return, and kind of start building on that some more. And in about 2.5 years, this group has made multiple six figures. I make a good 40 to 60 on the, I would say, good side, 40 to 50 to give it, realistic average a month that I get back from this group. And it truly is one of the most minimal amounts of time that I put into any lead source. So it's been very good to our business, and it's very consistent. And with a little bit of strategy and consistency and a game plan in place, it's very easy to run as well.
Yeah, that's awesome because I think, a lot of people, make the assumption that in order to start to see success using any platform, you either have to pay a lot of money or you have to, spend a lot of time. Those are kind of the two barriers to entry that a lot of people face or fear. And so with this, you kind of touched on the fact that it's important to be consistent. It's important to have a game plan. And we'll kind of dive into that a little bit, as well as I think one of the biggest fears that people have is they're taking a step back and so concerned about other realtors cannibalizing their group and selling in their group, and they have this massive fear. But I think the essence of the Facebook group is just becoming that local expert and being an actual valuable resource, which I think a lot of people kind of go into the Facebook group thinking, how quickly can I immediately sell, convert, or push, not how can I actually provide real value and get people to want to partner with me, and work with me. And so, when you start looking at what you're posting, what does that look like on an ongoing basis to give people an idea as to what type of content they should create or what would actually be valuable to a group like that?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll hit on a couple of things you said here. So as for other realtors or people being able to get in there on the group and do things or kind of put things you're not okay with, 100%, right? You got to monitor some things, but that's the best part about this is that you run it and you are the owner. So you get to put in there whatever you want, right? Right up to about 2,500 members. I didn't really have anything monitored. We didn't have any really processes in place to where you have to answer information to be able to enter the group. I just want it to be as easy and quick as possible. After about that 2,500 mark, you do start to see a little bit more spam, and then you'll get notifications from Facebook that you could get your page taken away for different things that are being posted in there. So we did have to start getting a little more specific about like who and what we were letting in there. However, I never let agents post in there ever. I will straight up delete that post, which anybody could understand, right? That's why you're running the group. I'm not in there, and I'm going to start being in there a little bit more of like, hey, I'm a local realtor. Now that I've added value and kind of grown the group, I've been a lot more low key about it, which I'll talk about what we do in there currently. But with that being said, a lot of people don't know that I'm like an agent running the group, right? So I'll get messages here and there too, like, hey, you deleted my post, or hey, why wasn't this approved? And I'm super nice about it, and I just let them know why, and people get it, right? That's the point of this group. So that's what's nice. I control it. Some of my agents, if you are being proactive and doing the things and taking the steps, I'll let you jump in this group as well, because it is pretty damn good and good for business. And there's definitely a strategy to it, and enough for all of us to be able to pull out of that group systematically as well. So things that we teach people, I teach our agents how to grow their own groups, how to do exactly what we're doing as well. Definitely enough for everybody, because I think one of the other fears that agents have why they don't create these groups is because there's already one in their area. There's already an agent doing, they already see one, right? So they just don't create one. I live in a very small city, and there were already a couple of groups where it's very low key out here. There's not, a ton of things around to do. It's just near the mountains, really not a lot going on, right? And I still have enough to post. I still have enough value to add. It's still enough even with the other community groups. And I assure you, with consistency, you're going to kick everyone else's ass anyway. They're just going to fall off. So just start and stick to it. But with that being said, a quick good little tip there is that if you are in a community and there's already a group for that and there's already a main name or something to that effect, you just have to tweak yours a little bit. You just need to make yours a little more specific to you. It could be moms of blank now, or whatever running club here, whatever it is that you like to do as well, because that's a good way to kind of get in front of your sphere more and then create actual connections off of the group, which I'll also talk about some groups and events and things that we do here in my group as well. But those are things that I would say agents definitely have some fear on, but you control it. So it's awesome. And just start the group. As long as you're consistent and you're adding people to it, it will absolutely grow regardless if there's a group out there anyways. So some things that I'm doing to strategically and systematically grow it are, one, I post a lot of community events. So easy to do. When I show people this, they literally are like, that is really what you are doing in here. I'm like, that's it. So I just go. So Facebook will show you other events, obviously, and things in your area to do. Right now, for example, I've been just in my Facebook real quick. It's either me or my VA, just Googling, again, straight in the Facebook events, Easter things to do near me. And I just pull the events and I share them. That is it. It doesn't get any easier. I'll literally have people message me sometimes. Hey, I wanted to check out or see if you had any events you'd posted for such and such, which is so funny because they could just put it in the headline themselves, right? And find the events, but they're going to the group for it. They're waiting for it there. So that's one of the things that I do. And it's very easy. Because I live in a smaller city, I do surrounding cities as well. So don't feel like you have to limit it, or if you're in a small area that it can't be surrounding areas. The mindset I keep myself in when we're putting information on this group is, what would somebody moving here or somebody living here want to do? Well, they would want to go to events if they're 10, 15 minutes away. It doesn't matter that it's in a different city. Everything is super close anyways. And because our city is really low key, a lot of the events are in nearby towns. So I utilize those to my advantage as well and just post those in there. Bulk trash pickup is a thing out here. I don't know if everybody has that, but it's like a big thing for trash day because you can put out whatever crap you want. Doesn't matter how big it is, and they'll come pick it up. So I post that date in there and people are always thankful for it. So just little things that are helpful to the community, for things that would just be an item if you live there, you'd want to know about it. New restaurants that are coming out as well. I like going to the city council meetings, as random as that sounds, and they're not long and they're actually super informational. And you can find out a lot of new things that are coming to your area. So I'll go to those, and then I have little insight and stuff I can put into my group, which is really cool because I'll find out about stuff opening before it's kind of more public, if you, which anybody could find it out. It's not a special thing. I'm just going and finding it out. But that information I'll put in there, and a lot of people really like that because it's new things that are coming and they haven't heard about it just yet. So all of those things, and then I'll post the life of that business, what's coming soon. So I'm driving by, I'm here anyway. So I'll literally put my phone out the window and record an update of the structure and what's coming soon. And then when it opens, so I'm with one thing, just getting a lot of multiple pieces of content, and it's keeping people engaged in it. There's one gas station out here, as random as that is, that took forever to open. So people are like joking around on the page about like placing bets on how long it's going to take. So just like stupid little things, but it's community, right? It's stuff that they like to know. So those are what I feel is helpful and really grows the page. There's a little invite thing. So I go and I invite people. I do fit no more than 50 at a time. I have my VA just go in there and do that now. But I don't do more than 50 just so it doesn't flag me or I don't have any issues with it. And then when people are only do it if they like or love your post. But if they do that on anything that you put out, you can also click the list of names, and then there's a little invite and button next to all of their names. So I make sure we're very proactive. Anybody who likes anything in there, we invite them in the group. I've had it about 2.5 years. We're at 7,500 members. I know I'll be at 10,000 easy by the end of this year, and I can talk about some things that we do to grow that outside of just posting as well. But with that being said, the right about 2,500 and up is when I started seeing a good little return on it. And again, it took me just a couple months to build up to that. So with that being said, final thing on it that's really procuring the business out of this group in correlation to what we're posting in there is the property posts. So I started realizing those are the ones really getting clients. And now the group takes a life of its own. People are always posting their own things, their own questions, their own services. So we'll get I'll post something and go back in there a couple hours later and it is buried. So like, it's very active, which is awesome. It kind of takes a life of its own. But I'm in there more consistently now with property posts. I thought, obviously, if that's what's getting me business and people are liking it, and we're having more traction here, I'm going to start saturating it a little bit more with that. So 4 days a week we're in there, and then 1 day on the weekend, just depending. He does Saturday or Sunday, just honestly depending on when he's working. So we'll put those in the group as well. And then it's simply just information on the home and photos. It is as basic as it gets. I don't give too much. I don't give the address. I don't give the price. The price is one of the main questions I get, price and location, right? So I keep those out of it. Yeah, you're going to piss a couple people off. That's totally fine. It's not your people anyways. And the ones that you do get are going to be completely worth it. And like I said, I'll put the same post on my regular Facebook page, which I use very heavily for real estate for the last 9 years. And I'll get a couple hundred on it. I'll do it in this group and get tens of thousands. So what I'm doing at that point, and I'll kind of break from here and we can get into any questions, is I am strategically reaching out and messaging those people to pull more business out of it. It's not like all of them are raising their hand and ready to meet tomorrow. I am having conversations to further that, to then pull these appointments out of the responses and the comments that I'm getting.
Yeah, that's awesome. And there's a couple good points there, especially saying like you're being proactive about it, because I think a lot of people try and take the most passive approach to whatever they can do and just hope to God there's some secret overnight sauce that's going to get them business without any effort. And we know that that doesn't exist. So the fact that you kind of touched on the fact that you really have to do something with it is critical. But I also love that you talked about leaving out some critical piece of information on the property post, because that's, when I was in production, what I saw really good results with on Facebook Marketplace is I sold a number of homes on Marketplace because I would leave out the price and the address and some of the critical photos, like the master bedroom, the kitchen, and the ensuite, all the things people want. And so it really allowed me to kind of, engage those conversations. And like you alluded to, you're going to have some negative Nancy's that are going to throw some shade, but that's part of the process. And I'd rather get paid and deal with that than, leave opportunities on the table. But, you know, it reminds me, there's a guy in our group, and he does really well with Facebook groups in Austin. And he kind of takes the approach of driving traffic off of the Facebook group to build relationships. And his is kind of centered around dads in Austin, and they'll do little outings and things like that. Have you been able to, or is that part of your approach in order to actually get together with people from the Facebook group and do events together? Or what does it look like for actually building in-person relationships?
It is. So that is something that I do and build in this group. And I do structure things to where not everything I do has to require an in-person activity, just in case we're not here for that. Things can definitely still grow. However, I do yearly events and consistent events, quarterly events, things to that effect, partner with businesses in the area to absolutely get in front of people, really give things of value and just make more of a further connection with them. So, for example, one of the things that I do is a local yoga instructor. I have her come out to our community. We have a really big grassy park in front of a mountain. It's really pretty. So we'll do a free yoga event out there. I've gotten properties literally out of that event, people coming up to me after, hey, I saw also you're a realtor. I need an XYZ. And some of them, one of those was a year out, right? So when I say this, it's not like I'm going to their house tomorrow every single time, right? There's follow up here. You're building your pipeline with it. However, I wore yoga clothes and did some stretches and got a client. You know what I mean? So it's up for $150. I got an entire group of people out there. So those are really great, really helpful. Those posts people share, people tag other people in. It's just a good way to also grow your community. So definitely getting in front of people that way as well. Again, local businesses, because we are a little more small town, getting connected with them, putting their information in our group, doing videos for them, doing events at their location where X dollars are free if you show up within a certain amount of time. So definitely doing things to kind of grow those relationships as well. And then we do, because it is kind of like hiking out here, biking, trails, horse riding, all that stuff is really big out here. So I'll do like a Waddell, I call it roll and stroll, because the moms come out, their strollers and stuff like that. And we'll literally just do walks in the community. We'll do hikes together. all things that are free. They're completely cost effective. And then you're connecting with people in a larger group. So you can kind of, go with who you meld with, meet more people. It's one meeting essentially with multiple people that you're now getting in front of. I always take pictures. I always make sure to communicate and know who is at this event so I can tag them after and further grow those things. And again, I'm just kind of getting more in their sphere, more in their wool, right? So those things are super helpful as well. And then something a little different or a little more specific to each person. So one example from last week, I had a lady reaching out on a post. She was interested in a property, and in speaking to her, so they've got the means, they're ready to go if they want to. It's just at a place that has to be perfect because their home now is great, right? And it's another move up home. So they find the perfect one, they're ready to do it, but that obviously has to align in order for that next step to happen. Her husband is a custom builder, so they're in this world. They've got some real estate connections as well, right? Possible listings that they're going to have available. So I set up a time and did just like a little hike in the area with her. So she's not ready yet. She's not a client per se, but she is a viable potential client, and I'm going to get her in my wheelhouse and connect more with her. And then I'm doing things that I would do that anyways. I would go on a hike regardless, right? So now we're just doing things together and kind of growing from there. So I definitely do things in my group to actually further a connection. And then I just feel add more value too. You're promoting the businesses, you're doing free things for your community. And I mean, for the cost to get in front of that many people in your area, you can't beat it.
Yeah, 100%. And, that's one of the things that I see is consistent across any person that I know that has a wildly profitable Facebook group is they just do what they would already be doing anyway and have fun with it. A lot of people, when they go into this approach of saying, well, I want to start one, they're always thinking, well, what did she do or what did he do? And how can I do that? But the truth is you just have to be authentic to yourself and do what you enjoy, right? The person out of Austin, he does dad stuff and he's always doing things with the kids and doing volleyball and doing all these different games because that's authentic to him. With you, it's hiking, it's going out in horses. It's always just what do you want to do and how can you connect with like-minded people because, people hate being sold to, but they love to make a friend. And you're going to get business if you're making a friend through a Facebook group like that. And so I love that you've taken such a genuine approach to it because at the end of the day, the conversation will always come up, well, what do you do? Or what's going on? And then it kind of leads down the right path. But, I think growing it to 7,500 is huge, right? I know a lot of people that have, far less in their group and they've still been able to make it very profitable, 10,000 a month up to 50,000 or even more. But how did you start to grow it to that level and especially, getting 2,500 in a matter of months?
Yeah, so a couple specific things that we did. So we're definitely in there. Like I said, my VA, he has set times to go in there and be inviting people. So I think that honestly was very helpful. When I meet people, I'll ask them how they got in contact with the group or came across it. And a lot of it is that they received an invite or were reached out to, like by Facebook, essentially, like this might be of interest to you. So I think one, just organically having value and inviting people, it does make a difference. Absolutely. Collabing with people, putting other people, tagging in them, right? Growing it with other people's spheres, definitely helpful. But I also do things that I actually will go take flyers around the community in person. So we have our title company make these flyers. It has info on it. It just gives a little bit of details of it. It says hello neighbor. So it's like a super little friendly thing. And then it says that I want them to obviously join the group. I'm a neighbor as well. And I've got this community group. Here's some things you're going to see in here. And then it just goes over community events, information for local businesses, just things that are going to be of value to them. And then at the bottom, it also says, and properties in the area. So it's not a total surprise, but everybody loves looking at homes. So that's fine, right? They'll connect on it if they feel like it. So it just has a little bit of information about what's in there. And then I let them know if you have a local business, you can also post in this group. So things to entice them to want to be in the group. And then I've got a QR code on it. So it doesn't get any easier. They literally just give it a quick little scan, pulls my group up right away. Every time I pass out about 100 of those, I'll get 10 to 15 members. My kids are teenagers, so I send them out all the time and they'll go pass those flyers out. So that is definitely a very tangible method that I have seen absolutely grow our group with actually taking and putting flyers out in the community. The back of that flyer is my information and does note that I'm a realtor and obviously has, my contact info on there as well. So it's a little twofer, if you will. And then you're not like door knocking or leaving your card on somebody's property, right? It's, hey, here's an item of value, and I'm also a local realtor here. So those have been really amazing, and passing those out and growing our business with people that I know are right here because we're taking it to local subdivisions.
That's cool, and it's such a neat way to also just open up dialogue by going out and handing things out. So it's almost doubling like door knocking, if you will. So that's pretty cool. But again, with value, and I think that's the entire message here is the more you pour in, the more you give. People only care about what's in it for me, and a lot of people kind of approach this of that from a realtor's perspective of just how can I get business instead of how can I build community. That's all people want with a community group is a sense of community, and you have to be able to instill that. And I guess one of the questions that I have for you is how present are you or how active are you in it from a personal perspective, in the sense of are you recording any videos yourself on your phone and posting it in there? Like how often are you giving people a chance to get to know you?
Yes, so excellent question there. I do try to be present enough so they know who I am, but not over the top so they feel like they're just in this group that's selling to them and they're going to leave it. So, with that being said, when I started the group, my first post, and this is what I recommend to people if they're going to start a group, my first post was a picture of myself and my family and just a little bit of info me that I'm local. Here's what I was looking to do with this group, that I wanted to be of value to the community. And that was the first thing that I put out to start inviting people to the group. So I even kicked it off on a personal note. I think that's incredibly important for sure. Being in there, I want to be the local face. I want when people think real estate to be like, oh, that girl from the Facebook group, however the heck you say her name, right? Usually people don't get my name right off the bat. So with that being said, I do like to be present in there. I didn't realize how good this group was going to be to us when I started it. So I am starting to be in there a little more heavily, and I am going to start putting more like home tours and things like that with my face and with me talking on them. So I would have never started that way. I'm definitely glad the trajectory that we're on with it. I think you have to be a little more organic and not be, people don't know who the heck you are at first. So I think if you just start a group with a bunch of videos of yourself, like why are they going to join, right? It has to again be of value, what's in it for them. So I think that's super important initially to just really build your group and not be too salesy or too much like, hey, I'm your local realtor. I think there's other ways to do it at first, like doing the events. And when I host those events, it's hosted by your local realtor, right? So there's little things that we're saying in there. So we're dropping that information on people, just not too in your face with it. I am going to start, like I said, though, being a little more proactive. And why I say that is because in looking at everything and statistically what is getting us business, it is more of those call to action type items, and people are definitely receptive to it. So we're going to test these out. I'll start hitting them. I'll see how it goes, and I'll course correct if needed. But I think as long as it's not, hey, I'm super cool, I live here and I'm an agent, use me. And it's more, hey, here's this house, here's the rates, here's some new builds that just went up. If you guys haven't had a chance to check these out, you're probably passing these on your way home if you live over here. Things like that, I think will definitely speak to people more, and then start growing my reach more. And more importantly, start getting me more reach outs like those other just straight property posts do. So I am going to start being a little more heavy in that. When I say heavy in that, 1 to 2 times a week. I wouldn't put my face in there more than that for right now. But I do drop a couple personal ones or different local things in the area. Like I said, if I've actually been there, like I'll show my face. Like, hey, there's a restaurant. I call it a restaurant, but it's like this kind of local bar area that people really like. That was a little bit newer. So I'll post like a video of myself, like, hey, out here over at the corral, just different things like that. So you're like seeing me, but not too real estate based. But definitely, again, going to start kind of gearing that up about 2 times a week at this point.
Yeah, I love that. And, one of the things that I've seen work so well for other people when it comes to Facebook groups is doing videos with local businesses, like going to the cool ice cream shop that everybody in the community knows and talking to the business owner of it, and, being able to just foster those relationships, but it's from a value driven perspective. And so being able to leverage video, but not always real estate specific, is another great way to be able to say, okay, I'm here more frequently, but it doesn't always have to be real estate related more frequently, you can just start to, again, provide more value of things people are curious about. They're always curious about who owns that restaurant or who owns that ice cream shop. Why did they start it? What's the message behind it? And it's kind of neat to see that type of thing. So I guess, when it comes to your group, you've been doing it for quite some time now. And is there any lessons that you've maybe learned from it? Anything that you would say was, I guess, not necessarily a mistake, but a learning opportunity, if you will, or for anybody that's looking to get started with their own Facebook group, what kind of words of advice would you have for that person?
Yeah, definitely. Because I just kind of started it up to see what happened and didn't go in with more of a strategic plan, knowing what it could be, I do feel like there are some things that I could have initially put in place. And at first, I wasn't doing more of monitoring what was going in there or setting up that initial questionnaire for people because I just didn't want any extra jobs. So I'm like, I'm not going to create anything extra. We don't have to do it. Let's just get this up and running and, get to the next thing here. But in doing so, it definitely, like I got, like I said, a couple flags on my account or different things where it would give me notices that my group was in risk. So I would have set it up properly from the beginning. I don't even know how all the back end of that works, but if I lost it, I guarantee it'd be very hard to get back. And I do wonder, right, getting those flags, it maybe doesn't push it as hard out as it could to, different people and invites and things like that. So I would have set it up from the beginning and put that questionnaire in place, just put more steps in place to make it an official group. So when people are getting in there, it's just more set up and I wasn't having to monitor it as much. There are different keywords that you can put in. So that way, people, if they're putting those words in the group or trying to post with those words, it'll automatically deny their post. So, for example, this is super random, but ductwork here is like a really big scam that people will utilize.
Yeah.
So I would get a bunch of posts in there about that. So we flagged the word literally ductwork. And so that helps with it. So there's different things you can go in and kind of do to structure a little bit more. But outside of that, I had initially my VA start running it. It's very specific. He has spreadsheets for what he's posting out, when he's posting, the responses that we're providing to people. So that part of it's always been a little more systematic from the front, which I think has also been very helpful because I don't get overwhelmed with doing everything and then fall off. It's just a process that we continue to follow. But outside of that, like I said, it runs. I don't want to oversell things. Everything is definitely work, but it's not sitting on the phones all day or door knocking all day, right? It's definitely a lot more easy to maintain and you can do it from anywhere. So just with a little strategic setup in the beginning and some systems and processes for handling the business as it comes in, it's really not been too crazy. I don't have a lot of a-holes in the group, luckily, and I delete a post here and there and a comment, and that's pretty much it.
That's so cool. Well, I think it's amazing. And again, like, it's, if you're intentional with it, if you have a plan, if you go into it with a value driven perspective, it's one of the, most simple ways that you can start to foster community. And you can even do this. And the coolest part is you can do this without any experience. I know people that started out as brand new agents that did this to get their first deals. I think this is one of few things that require any element of credibility in order to get started. If you just take that personal approach of saying, hey, I'm just here to build community with you guys, and I want to be a valuable resource, and coming at it from that perspective. And so, one of the things that I love about you and Armando is that you guys help people do this in their own market. And I'd love for you to kind of talk about that as we pull this together full circle, of the fact that, similar to your realtor blueprint of how you've helped other agents build a successful business without being physically present at all times to have a more flexible lifestyle, you also help people build a profitable Facebook group in their own market as well, because you've got the blueprint and you're able to help with the strategy and the planning of that. So do you just want to kind of talk about what it's like to align and partner with you guys and what you do to help other agents build the business they've always wanted?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll speak on a couple things and it started off specific to the Facebook groups. Yes, I love your exact point there that you don't have to have credibility to this. You don't have to have stats. You just have to start it and put items of value. And they don't even have to be your own things. They're not even events you're doing or paying for. You're literally just sharing information. So I agree. It's definitely really great for new agents to kind of start getting in there and to really start gaining some traction and having those conversations. And we go as far as to our agents when they're starting to have these conversations, they'll screenshot it to us, and I'll tell you exactly how to reply to these clients to drive that conversation forward and really turn this into something. So we are very involved in the sense that we don't just even tell you how to do it and when to do it, but we'll help you with how to have those conversations and procure more clients out of what you are doing. So yeah, the Facebook group, definitely anybody can get in there, can start it up. We have helped people in other areas create their own groups, get their name going, start with what information to put in there. There's an agent who recently joined us who is in my area as well. And I helped her create a group that's in my same city. She has a little bit different of her own niche to it, but I'm not even worried about helping her create something right in the same place I am. I know we'll both have enough information and that there's enough for both of us, right, to get in there. So definitely something, regardless of where you are, that you can absolutely start up and truly start getting business out of. So with that being said, that's kind of more pertaining to the Facebook group. As mentioned, we've got the remote realtor blueprint as well to really structure your business and have more time for yourself and to be able to travel and be anywhere, anytime without having a dip in your business. So really, we try to focus on helping our agents with their own specific game plan. What is it that you want to do in this industry? What is going to be life changing for you to grow your life? And what's the plan to kind of reverse engineer what you need to do from here? And feel like we've done this a long time and I'm in the trenches. We don't just speak about it. I've taken to every training and platform and this guru and that person that you can think of. And I am just incredibly confident that the path that we have and the structure that we give our agents will give them a predictable business, but also a life that's enjoyable without being stuck to this 24/7. And I never oversell things. I'm always very transparent that it's not, it's not super easy, if you will, right? You're going to have some stress on you. You're going to be working some hours, especially up front. But if you're willing to put in the work and you're going to hustle and get this off the ground, the platform that we have that they could build upon, like I said, it's just going to give them consistent business along with the freedom in life, which I think is more important to people than it honestly has been in the past too, which has, I think, been amazing.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Especially as you look at the stats of last year of 71% of agents not closing a deal. Like, it doesn't have to be that way. And I always tell people that's a conscious choice if you were going to fall into that category again this year of closing less than 5 deals, working below minimum wage essentially, because you can align with people that know exactly how to help you and how to get you to that 6 figure or beyond mark with a proven blueprint like you and Armando have been able to do. So again, I'm going to link all of Naleka's content below, as well as her calendar if you want to chat with her about getting your own Facebook group set up in your market and being able to align with us to get our help to take your business to the next level. So, Naleka, thank you so much again for sharing absolutely everything.
Yes, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
All right, guys, make sure you go check out those links. Again, it's a wealth of knowledge. And please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video.